On your knees, now. Richard Preston's voice was low, but it sliced through the quiet clinking of cutlery at the gilded spoon. Samuel, all 68 years of him, looked from the small puddle of water on the pristine marble floor to the manager's polished shoes. His old joints ached just thinking about it. Richard leaned in, his cologne thick and suffocating. I said, "Clean it with that rag, with your hands." A cruel smirk played on his lips as a few diners at nearby tables turned to look. Samuel's hands trembled as he slowly knelt, the cold of the floor seeping through his thin work trousers. But he didn't see the quiet man in the corner booth who slowly put down his fork and just watched. Samuel had worked at the Gilded Spoon for 5 years. Ever since his Martha passed, the quiet nights in their small apartment in the south side of Chicago were too much to bear. The job didn't pay much, but it got him out of the house and supplemented his meager Social Security check. He was a ghost in the restaurant, polishing brass, cleaning floors, and taking out the trash after the last wealthy patron had gone home. He was invisible, and that's how he liked it. That all changed 2 months ago when Richard Preston was hired as the new general manager. Richard was 38, with a sharp suit and an even sharper tongue. He walked through the restaurant not like he managed it, but like he owned the very air inside. He treated the service staff, the waiters, the busboys, the cleaners, like dirt under his expensive Italian shoes. He reveled in his power, finding any small excuse to berate someone publicly. There was another new face in the restaurant, though. A man in his 50s named Arthur Vance had started coming in for lunch every Tuesday for the past month. He was unassuming, dressed in simple sweaters and slacks, a stark contrast to the rest of the clientele. He always sat in the same corner booth, ordered the modest chicken soup and a coffee, read his newspaper, and always left a $20 tip on a $12 bill. He was quiet, polite, and hardly anyone noticed him. But Samuel noticed him. Last week, Samuel was doing his final sweep of the dining room when he found a worn leather wallet on the floor beneath Arthur's usual table. He opened it, only to find an ID. Inside was nearly $500 in cash. Without a second thought, Samuel took it to the Lost and Found, logged it in, and left a note for Richard. The next day, Mr. Vance came to claim it, looking relieved. He asked who found it, and Richard, trying to take the credit, vaguely said the staff. But the hostess, a kind young woman named Maria, pointed toward Samuel. Arthur approached Samuel, shook his hand firmly, and looked him straight in the eye. "Thank you. Honesty is a rare thing these days." He tried to give Samuel a $100 bill, but Samuel politely refused. A simple thank you was more than enough. The incident that led to his public humiliation was a stupid, simple accident. Samuel was carrying his bucket to refill the mop in the kitchen. The dinner rush was in full swing, and a young waiter, juggling 3 hot plates, came bursting through the kitchen doors and bumped squarely into Samuel. The bucket tipped, and a small splash of water, no bigger than a dinner plate, landed on the floor. It was nothing. A few paper towels would have fixed it in 10 seconds. But Richard had seen it from across the room. It was like a shark smelling blood in the water. This was his chance for a performance. He strode over, his face a mask of theatrical fury. "What is this incompetence?" he boomed, making sure the nearby tables could hear. "It was an accident, Mr. Preston," Samuel said, his voice quiet. The boy, Richard cut him off with a wave of his hand. "I don't care what it was. All I see is a mess made by a useless old man who can't even carry a bucket. You are a disgrace to this establishment." The words hit Samuel like physical blows. He could feel dozens of eyes on him. Some diners looked away in embarrassment. Others watched with morbid curiosity. His face burned with shame. He just wanted the floor to open up and swallow him whole. "I'll clean it right up, sir," Samuel mumbled, reaching for his mop. Richard kicked the mop away. It clattered across the floor. "No, you won't use a mop. You'll use this." He threw a small, dirty rag at Samuel's feet. "You will get on your hands and knees, and you will scrub that floor until it shines. And then you will get your things and get out. You're fired." Fired! The word echoed in the sudden silence of the room. After 5 years of faithful, quiet service, he was being thrown out like trash over a spilled puddle of water. A tear of pure, helpless rage and humiliation escaped his eye and traced a path through the wrinkles on his cheek. His will broke. With his shoulders slumped in defeat, he got on his knees. He picked up the rag, his hand shaking so much he could barely hold it. He was about to wipe the floor when a calm voice interrupted the scene. "That's quite enough." Samuel looked up. Everyone looked up. It was the quiet man from the corner booth, Arthur Vance. He was standing now, his newspaper folded neatly under his arm. He walked over slowly, his presence creating a strange bubble of calm in the tense atmosphere. Richard, seeing a customer he perceived as wealthy, immediately changed his demeanor. He put on a sickly sweet, apologetic smile. "Sir, my deepest apologies for this disturbance. We are just, taking out the trash. It will be handled momentarily." Arthur Vance completely ignored Richard. His eyes were only on Samuel, and they were filled with a surprising warmth and concern. "You can stand up now," he said gently. He reached out a hand to help the old janitor to his feet. Samuel, confused and dazed, took the offered hand and slowly rose, his old knees cracking in protest. Richard's face turned from fake pleasantry to furious red. "Sir, I must insist you don't interfere with staff matters. This is my restaurant, and this man is fired. Security!" he bellowed toward the entrance. Arthur finally turned his gaze to Richard. His voice was still quiet, yet it carried an undeniable authority that silenced the entire room. "Actually," he said, his words precise and cold, "it's my restaurant, as of the 1st of last month." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out the very same leather wallet Samuel had found. He didn't open it. He simply held it for a moment before producing a business card. He handed it to the stunned manager. Richard's eyes went wide as he read the simple, elegant text. "Arthur Vance, CEO, Prestige Dining Group." The Gilded Spoon was the flagship restaurant of the entire chain. Richard's jaw went slack. The color drained from his face, leaving him a ghastly shade of pale. He started to stammer, Mr. Vance, I had no idea. I was just trying to maintain standards." "Your standards?" Arthur's voice was like ice. "I've been observing you for a month, Mr. Preston. Your standards involve bullying your staff and creating an atmosphere of fear. That's a liability. But what you just did to this man," he gestured to Samuel, "this good, honest man who found my wallet last week with $500 cash inside and returned it without a moment's hesitation. What you did was not a liability. It was unforgivable." Arthur turned to Samuel, his expression softening again. "Samuel, on behalf of my entire company, I want to personally apologize for the treatment you just endured. You are not fired. You are a valued employee." Then his gaze snapped back to Richard, hard and final. "You, however, are. Your cruelty is the only thing that is a disgrace to this establishment. Pack your personal belongings from your office. Your final paycheck will be mailed to you. The security you called for can escort you out." Richard began to plead, his arrogance melting into pathetic desperation. "Please, sir, give me another chance. I can change." But Arthur simply turned his back on him. Two security guards who had just arrived understood the situation instantly and moved toward the former manager. They gently but firmly took him by the arms and led him away, a broken, sputtering mess. The entire restaurant was dead silent. Every diner, every waiter had witnessed the entire drama unfold. Then Arthur Vance addressed the staff who were gathered nearby. "Maria," he said to the young hostess, "you're the assistant manager now. I've seen how you treat people. You start tomorrow." Maria gasped, her hands flying to her mouth in shock. Finally, he turned back to the man at the center of it all. Samuel was speechless. Tears of a different kind now streaming down his face. They were tears of shock, of relief, of a gratitude so profound it felt like it could burst his heart. "Samuel," Arthur said, placing a comforting hand on his shoulder, "no one should ever suffer that kind of indignity. A man of your character shouldn't be on his knees cleaning floors." He paused, letting the weight of his next words settle. "I'd like to offer you a new position. I'm creating it right now. Head of maintenance for the entire Chicago district of prestige dining. You'll oversee the staff and standards at all 5 of our locations. The job comes with a salary 5 times what you are making now, full medical and dental benefits, and a company car so you don't have to take the bus anymore." Samuel couldn't speak. He could only nod, his whole body trembling with emotion. The silence in the restaurant was suddenly broken as Maria, the newly promoted assistant manager, began to applaud. A few waiters joined in, then another. Within seconds, the entire room, staff and patrons alike, erupted in a standing ovation, not for the rich CEO, but for the humble old janitor who was finally getting the respect he deserved. In the end, what we learn from this is that a person's true character isn't shown in how they treat their equals, but how they treat those they believe are beneath them. Richard thought power gave him the right to humiliate, but he forgot that true power lies in kindness and integrity, qualities Samuel had in abundance. That day, a simple act of honesty, returning a wallet, sowed the seeds for a justice that was more rewarding than any revenge. What did you think of Arthur's decision? Let me know in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, please leave a like, subscribe for more real-life stories, and I'll see you in the next video.